What's up, War Rapport family? Your guy Ike Jones, man. I am here. Instant reaction. Auburn, ninth seed, taking on Iowa in Birmingham. I want you guys to jump on in here. Let's talk about it. Um, what are your thoughts? What are your feelings? Now, I'm going to be honest here. I have not watched any Iowa basketball, so I don't really know what to think about the matchup against Iowa. But if there are any of you who have come in here and or who are in here and you've got some thoughts about it, definitely jump in here and let's talk about it real quick. We'll do a more in-depth breakdown on this tomorrow when I've had an opportunity to watch some Iowa. But Thursday is going to be the game in Birmingham. You guys at War Rapport are definitely going to try to be in the building for that game because it's right here in state. It's right down the street from me. So I'm definitely going to try to be there. So let's jump in here and talk about it real quick and see what your guys' thoughts are on Auburn getting to the tournament as a ninth seed and playing against Iowa in the first round. Let's see here. War Eagle to everybody who's jumped in here. Susan, I see you. What's up? Dead Timsy, I see you. John Brandon, what's up? He says here, home games. We might actually win a few. Yeah, so we'll get a couple of them here in Birmingham if we can go ahead and win. Ben Bloodworth said they put Miami in our quadrant again. We'll definitely talk about this here in just a minute. Some other games that could be potential matchups in the future, and we'll do way more on this tomorrow. My guy Mike G jumping in here. What's up, Mike?
What up?
Let's see. Thomas says, how is the South and Midwest region in Birmingham? We'll take a look at that here in just a minute. We'll look at some more of the bracket stuff, but I just wanted to get some action from people. And tomorrow, I will have had time to go look at some Iowa stuff overnight, and we'll talk a little bit more in depth about it. But Mike G, what are your initial thoughts?
They put Auburn and Alabama in Birmingham.
Yeah, that's
How
crazy.
amazing is that?
That's crazy. It would be.
You guaranteed you're going to fill seats.
Oh, for
100% with that decision.
The tickets are going to go nuts for this game.
Sold out.
Nuts for this region. Yeah. So, I don't know, man. I'm actually surprised that both Alabama and Auburn got Birmingham as their first round situations there. I'm surprised they put them both in that area. This was definitely a ticketing move. This had nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do with it. Yeah.
I mean, they put Houston in the region here in Birmingham, which is interesting because Bama's played Houston already once. There's a lot to unpack with what's happening here in Birmingham right now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
this is interesting choices. I think fans are happy about this decision, right?
Yeah, for sure.
If you're a fan, you don't want to travel to the other side of the country to watch this game. And I think for any fan that was hesitant, Ike, about going to watch a loss but traveling very far to do it,
you
just took that off the table.
Yeah, for sure. I think, tickets are about to go nuts on this. I'm just waiting for an email that says, hey, who wants to cover this game? And we're going to raise our hands emphatically and say, I will be there. This is literally a 10-minute drive for me down the street to get to this game. So I'm like, please, yes, let us be there. So yeah, man, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this one. I don't know, man. Like I said, I just wanted to get some instant reaction from people about this. You guys make sure that you share the video real quick. We'll get some more people in here because this is really today's conversation. I really want to be about you guys' thoughts and instant reactions. So share the video real quick at the War Rapport, hashtag get your weight up for sure. If you're in here, make sure you go ahead and give us a thumbs up and like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Y'all already know what we got going on. But Mike G, I mean, can we overstate how intriguing it would be? For an NCAA tournament matchup against Alabama?
Super intriguing. And it can't be understated the chance Auburn could have. And I've got to take a look at how the bracket sets up.
I haven't looked. I literally, as soon as they announced Auburn, I came in here and started setting up my camera. I was like, okay, we just got to, because I would have wanted to react anyway, but my immediacy to wanting to react when I saw it was in Birmingham is what made me be like, oh yeah, we're going live. We're talking about this like right now.
Yeah, I mean, guys, help me out here, chat. Where would Auburn and Alabama meet if they could? Would it have to be the Final Four? Could it be the Elite Eight? Like, I think it would have to be the Final Four the way it's set up, or the Elite Eight the way it's set up.
I believe Elite Eight would be the answer to that, but let's take because Bama's the 1 seed and we're the 9, so let's just take a look. Boom, boom, boom. But yeah, man. I don't see anybody saying it. Let me just go here to the chat though and grab some comments while we're looking that up. Let's see. The weakest leak jumps in here saying playing at the BJCC gonna be a home crowd.
Yeah.
Marlon McNichols says, I like the fact that it's in Beeham, basically a home game. So everybody's agreeing with that.
It's going to be packed. It's going to be packed.
James Barnett, what up, Ike? Iowa can be beaten. They are similar to Auburn as it relates to shooting. So this is something, again, I am not going to lie to anyone and say that I've like watched a portion of an Iowa game in passing. Right. Like I have not watched the entirety of Iowa basketball. I have not looked up any statistics on them. This today is not meant to be some sort of in-depth analysis of, or right now, not meant to be some sort of in-depth analysis of what I think is going to happen in that game. Tomorrow morning on the morning drop, we will be in that mode because I will have had we do the morning drop at 9 o'clock. I will have had like 12 hours or more to get into what Iowa is as a team and how we match up with them. So we'll talk way more about that kind of stuff tomorrow, but it's good to know that there are people out there who've seen it and feel like we match up well with them. Cause we need to get a first round win here to change some of the thought processes around people and what we are as a team and a program right now. I just feel like Auburn fans are very down on Auburn basketball right now. And I just don't understand. Well, I understand why, but it's just weird to me.
Well, there's not a. I think a lot of Auburn fans are down on our tournament chances because outside of 2019, they have not felt fair well in the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, so that's not unusual for the history of Auburn basketball, though. It's not as if we're in some down space. Like I can understand Kentucky fans feeling like, yo, how did we lose? Like we're supposed to be perennially an Elite Eight team. Auburn has not been that. We went to the Final
but you
Four
don't want
time.
You don't want the expectations to stay down there. I think it's a good thing that the expectations have risen.
Yeah, but I guess being down on it is different than like having high expectations and saying, "Oh, we're not where we're supposed to be." Like, where are we supposed to be as a program? Like, I think you have to achieve it perennially before you expect it perennially, and we haven't done that. So it's just weird to me to feel like we're supposed to be here based on what historically puts us in that conversation. Like we just haven't.
I don't know, man. You pay your coach $50 million. I think the expectation is you're supposed to be there.
Coaching salaries are ballooning all over the country, though. Like what's what's the dude at Missouri? He just got a big pay bump after 1 year. Dennis Gates. 1 year at Missouri, he's huge. Like you got to pay these days to get quality coaches. So Bruce Pearl earned that contract. So I'm not really.
Yeah, again, which is where I think the expectation comes from. I think the expectation is not necessarily Final Four every year, but it's definitely a step above what it has been.
Yeah, okay. I can agree that. Yeah, I don't know that this year's team underachieved. Last year's was a team that I feel like woefully underachieved. This year's team, I think, achieved right about what the talent level would allow us to achieve. And if we can rattle off 1 or 2 wins, then we'll be in the overachievement category based upon what we've seen on the court, not what people thought we were going to be before the season, not what people hoped we would be based upon Bruce Pearl. I'm talking about what I watched us do week in and week out on the floor. If we win 1 or 2 games in this tournament, we will have overachieved. If we can make it to the Sweet 16, I think people would be elated or should be elated with where this team finished.
One game should be the expectation. 1 game is not an overachievement. 2 games would be an overachievement.
I agree. I agree with that. I think we should have won at least 1 game in the SEC tournament, though. I think we should have won that Arkansas game because that's probably where this team should have been talent-wise, is at least advancing to that next round. So that's, I believe, losing that first game to Arkansas, though Arkansas is a good team this year, was an underachievement as far as the SEC tournament is concerned. Let's see. I dropped off somewhere. Thomas Dickey says, Ben Budworth, forget Miami, Houston in the 2nd round. Yeah, man. It's not going to be, listen, you weren't going to get an easy path. Like there literally is no easy path to winning a national championship, even if you're a 1 seed.
But if there was, Bama got it. Let's be clear. If it was, Bama got it. Yes, 100%. And
You
we'll
think
talk
so?
about we'll talk about when we get to break down the bracket. But
Okay.
if there was ever an easy path to a Elite Eight, Bama
Okay, to
definitely
an
got it.
Elite Eight. Okay.
Yeah,
I was about to say.
Bama definitely got it. I mean, because once you get
Well, that's what
past
I
the
mean. When you're the
once,
number one overall seed, you're
yeah,
supposed to have the easiest path,
right.
and that's what Bama was.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like once you get to the Elite Eight, I think that what you're saying is true. There's no real easy path.
Yeah.
Because the teams that got there presumably are playing hot at that point. So if you got to the Elite Eight, you won 3 straight games to get there. You're on a streak. Literally, you can't get to the Elite Eight without being on a streak. So
Yeah.
but getting there is the hard part. Ask Gonzaga.
Yeah.
For a team who is a number 1 seed or number 2 seed or high seed year in and year out, they have a hard time making it past the Sweet 16.
Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of a team, like if you're talking about expectations versus reality, I think perennially Gonzaga underachieves. Like every year, they're a team that people are picking to potentially be a national title contender, always in the Final Four, Elite Eight conversation. I just don't know that they ever really get to that place. And a lot of that has to do with what conference they're in. Like they're always going to make the tournament in that conference. It's them and St. Mary's. Who else is going to come out of that conference? And they're just not going to do enough from a talent perspective, it seems, to be able to break through continuously just because they don't have any games to toughen that team up. Like they're playing a bunch of who knows these people in this conference that they're playing against every single year. And listen, if you're a Gonzaga fan and you're watching this, prove me wrong as to what I'm saying about the toughness of the conference that you come from, not the talent of your team. I think Drew Timme is a phenomenal college basketball player. Yeah. The talent of your team, sure. The toughness of your conference, let's be real. Let's be real. But let's see. Let's talk about some more of this stuff in here. This is a good one here from Susan saying, Rogue Shop sells out if we play bad. Listen, you might need some anxiety medicine.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know the world could take it. Like there might be some sort of random, like this would be as crazy. I made this argument earlier this year that I think that the Auburn versus Alabama rivalry is the best college rivalry, bar none, across sport. And it was you and I on talking about this, about Duke and North Carolina played each other last year for, I think it was at Final Four they played last year or something like that. I can't remember where they met last year in the tournament, but like craziness. Right? I just don't know if the world is ready for an Auburn versus Alabama basketball situation when it really means something. I don't know, man. Pray for your kids out there in these streets, especially with the way some of these Bama fans are acting right now.
Yeah, it's there. I mean, is it possible to say that their fan base is in shambles and they're winning?
Their fan base is very weird right now. It's very weird energy from Bama fans. But you know what? Bama fans, like they're not actual basketball fans, which is I think the even more annoying part is like they're only doing this because they like to front run. It's not because, I love basketball so much. A vast majority of them are not real basketball fans. Anyway, PPAS NCAA hooked us up. They need seats to be sold. You are not wrong. Yeah. This is definitely a situation where they were looking at the balance sheet and they said, how can we pack the seats out? Put Alabama up there because they're going to be a 1 seed. We need to put them in Birmingham. Quick, easy drive for them. We're going to sell seats. Who else is in the tournament? Auburn. Great. Put them in the matchup. If they're going to be a 9 seed, they need to be in the Birmingham region. Great. Let's make sure that we pack that BJCC out. As a resident of Jefferson County, I appreciate the revenue bump that's about to happen for my area as well. The hotels around here are probably about to go nuts. And if you're in some sort of entertainment thing, you need to make sure that you're on point with what you got going on there as well, so people can have a good time when they come here. CB 205 says, guess I'm taking off my night shift job for the game, which is 3 miles away from my house. Listen, that is a quality use of PTO right there. Quality use of PTO. If you don't have PTO and you just need to trade shift with somebody, make that happen ASAPidly, because those tickets will be going like the hotcakes really sell? Like,
Yeah.
where did going like hotcakes come from? Like, there was, or people like really just selling hotcakes for a low amount of money and they sold quick. I don't even know, but they're going like hotcakes is what's gonna happen. Let's see. Albies Weagle says, all I can say is y'all be careful if we make it that far and beat Bama. Hey, keep your head on the swivel, protect your neck at all times, protect your face at all times. Is that what they say in boxing? Protect your face at all times or head at all times. Yeah, you gotta be one of those situations. Anthony Grant says Duke might be the most dangerous 5 seed this year. I haven't I haven't looked at the bracket for real yet. Again, like I literally stopped watching my television as soon as Auburn's name flashed on there. Birmingham. I hadn't looked at nothing else. I was like, oh, let me go. Let's go straight.
Kentucky got a 6 seed.
Listen, Kentucky somehow is playing better without their starting point guard in Wheeler. They've had more practice at it. Where I'm going with this is I'm making a comparison between how Tennessee looks without their starting point guard and how Kentucky looks without their starting point guard. Kentucky's had more time to adjust to that. But yeah, it's interesting because I think their move to Kaysen as the bigger guard has paid dividends for Kentucky. I think Kentucky's playing better basketball. That's not evidenced by the bounce that they got from the SEC tournament, but they're just a talented, athletic team that I think can rattle off some wins here in the tournament. So it's going to be interesting.
Tennessee is a 4 seed.
4 seed Tennessee. Okay. Who are they playing?
That's a great question. It changed. I'll let you know in a second.
Stuart Donald says Duke may be the first 5th seed to lose to a 12th this season. So he is the antithesis of where Anthony is on his assessment as Duke being a dangerous 5th seed. He's saying he might get bounced.
Yeah, it's one of those things that used to be true about the tournament, right? Every year, a 12 upsets a 5.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's possible. I mean, that's one of the hardest games to pick when you're picking. So,
yeah, it is. The 12-5 matchup. We did a bracket last year, right? Didn't we do a bracket challenge last year with the War Rapport? Are we going to do another one this year?
We'll see.
Yeah, because I hadn't even thought about it, but like we did a bracket challenge last year. Didn't Susan win? Wasn't it Susan that won last year? So yeah, hopefully we'll get a chance to do that again. Cody Cooper jumps in. I think Auburn's ability to play defense, if they can shoot, they can beat anybody any given game. Speaking of Auburn and their offensive prowess, yeah, I mean, listen, if we're going to score, we should beat teams. But let's be clear. The defense hasn't been great lately. Like we have given up, like earlier in the season, we were a hold you under 70 team pretty regularly. It seemed as if as we started scoring more, our defense started to get worse and we were giving up 75, 78, 79 points. When we keep teams below 70, that's a good place for us to be in. But we just haven't been doing that. Like, Arkansas is a perfect example. The defense in that game was terrible in the tournament. Terrible defense. Way too many very easy layups, transition baskets in that game. The rebounding was awful. We scored enough points where you should be able to win that game, though. But because you don't play great defense, you don't rebound well, you don't win. And it was literally the exact opposite the next game for Arkansas, right? Texas A&M goes out there and they flip the script when it comes to being able to rebound the ball. And then they score enough points to just go out there and get the win, even though they didn't play particularly well the first half of that game. And I think that's the story of where Auburn should have been and was not able to do in the tourney, in the SEC tourney, that is. All right, CM Pat _1996 says, I like getting the benefit of the doubt because we've been consistently competitive, ready for other folks to slip and us take over. It'd be nice.
Yeah,
I would love to be underestimated going into this game and we catch a couple of people slipping. I would love for that to happen. War Eagle says Providence is going to give Kentucky all they want. Again, I don't know because I ain't watched Providence play a single second of basketball this season. I've watched plenty of Kentucky games, but I have not watched Providence play, so I don't have a bead on where they are athletic. Because make no mistake, it comes down to a lot athleticism and experience when you get into this level of competition. Like if you're just athletically better than people, it's hard to lose those games.
It looks like Mississippi State is going to make the last 4 in.
That's good. They should.
Yeah, last four in. First four out,
Did,
OSU, Rutgers, North Carolina, Clemson.
did Vandy make it?
Oof. Oof.
Vanderbilt was another team that I feel like was on the bubble, made a good
Bubble,
push in the
yeah.
tournament. I don't know if they did enough, but
But to our point about the tournament, not really helping you unless you win it.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
because listen, Texas A&M didn't need the SEC
they didn't
tournament
need it.
to get in this year. They were going to be in regardless. Bama was going to get in, and this is something I talked about. I don't remember whether it was on our show or on the podcast, where I was saying that the tournament teams this season were from the SEC were teams that they were going to make it regardless. And what one thing that would hurt Auburn, I think it was actually just a conversation Memes and I were having, was that if some team that was on the outside looking in before the tournament, like a Vanderbilt or I don't know where Missouri ended up going, but like
seven.
I'm trying to think of a team that was on the bubble. Mississippi State was on the bubble, but they won a couple of games. They're actually the SEC tournament helped Mississippi State, I think, by winning a couple of games, or at least the first couple of games. But let's say South Carolina or went on some kind of crazy run and won the SEC tournament, right? Like a team like that. That's what would have hurt Auburn's chances because they get the auto bid, and then you've got all these other teams that have better resumes than you making it into the tournament as well. And so then Auburn gets pushed further and further towards that bubble. But we had done enough in the regular season where it didn't matter. And this is somebody in one of our comment sections on YouTube was like telling me that that Arkansas didn't care what happened in that first game. They were making it into the tournament anyway. Auburn's the one that needs this game. I was like, you're crazy. Auburn doesn't need this game. Like, that's just not true. We're going to make the tournament whether we beat Arkansas or not. Like, and that's exactly what happened. I'm just like, do y'all pay attention to anything?
Vandy didn't make it.
They didn't. Oh man, Stack is not gonna be happy.
Vandy didn't make it.
Did you see the video of Stackhouse after they made it to the semis when he was up on the podium talking? And when they do the interviews with a couple of players and coaches right there on the SEC network panel with Fish and a couple of other guys. And so Stack was up there, and as he's getting up, he's like, maybe one of y'all will pick us next time. And he took his headset off and he started pointing at people like, you ain't pick us. And they lost the next game. But yeah. But yeah,
that's eight. That's 8 SEC teams that did get in though.
All right, so we got
9.
So Bama, Texas A&M, Tennessee, Kentucky.
Yeah, I'll only count from this order. It's Bama, it's Texas A&M, it's Missouri, it's Tennessee, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Auburn, Arkansas. Yeah. So they're all in.
So Vanderbilt didn't get in. Nobody thought South Carolina or Ole Miss was going to get in. That's not a surprise. Florida didn't have a chance to get in. That's not a surprise. Who am I missing? Is that it? It's just those 4, right? Mm-hmm. No, it can't be. It's got to be like 6. Who am I missing that didn't get in from the SEC?
Man. Vandy was, I mean, they were on the bubble as you could be, right? Like,
yeah, I just thought maybe they had done enough in the SEC tournament to make some people want to put them in. But LSU, I did not name LSU. Thank you. Comment section there, James Barnett. Georgia was the other team. I was like, I know I'm missing somebody here. So Georgia, LSU, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Florida, Ole Miss.
If you lose in the first 4, did you really get in? Like,
I mean, hell, I'd rather be in the first 4 than not there, though. So, and that's where I think Vandy was hoping that they would do it, at least get into the first 4 out and get a play-in game. So, alas, it doesn't matter, man. Auburn's in it. We in it. For all of y'all who were talking about we're going to the NIT, listen, we made it to the tournament. How far we go, I don't know what the answer to that is going to be yet. I have not, again, watched a single play for Iowa this season, unless it was just kind of on somewhere in the background and it was just on a television at a sports bar I was at or something like that. I could not tell you a single player for Iowa. I don't know any statistics. I ain't looked them up. I have no analysis to give you right now about our chances in the Iowa game. But according to some people in our chat, we're very evenly matched up with them. They're a very similar basketball team to us, which is actually, if that's true, a good thing for Auburn, because where Auburn struggles is with teams that are very dominant on the inside, or they're very lengthy 1 through 5, right? Like if you're going to have big guards, then the athleticism of those guards being able to crash and play defensively hurts Auburn. Or if you have dominant big men that make it difficult for our small guards to finish in the lane defensively, that's where Auburn struggles. Unless it's going to be a team that's just going to catch fire from 3, Auburn can play with anybody.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be interesting. I think the season just kind of starts over, and that's the attitude you have to have to this, right? Season starts over. You know what you did. These aren't teams that are familiar with you. They're not teams you've played before. You know, the season starts over for you right now. So all the things that we talked about today on the live, they just don't matter anymore. You got to go out and you have to overcome those things. And,
absolutely.
It's just a reset. It's a blank canvas to start from for Auburn in this tournament. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Bruce Pearl schemes up for these guys. You know, this is the quality of your scouting and your preparation gets exposed when it comes tournament time. Because it's not a team you're familiar with. You got to find a way to go out there and just be better. And look at the tape and figure out how you can use your strengths and expose their weaknesses. So
yeah,
I'm excited to see what they'll do round 1 in Birmingham.
That's actually one of the things that I think I've liked about what this staff has done this season. I think we've had good game plans going into every game. Our execution of that game plan has been suspect game to game, but I think that they've had a good idea of what they want to do. There are very few games this season where I felt like Coach Pearl, as far as the preparation for the team, they got out coached. The only game that comes to my mind immediately where I was like, yeah, they just didn't have a solid plan for that one was Florida. Florida was the only game, and we won that game. But I think that Coach Golden knew exactly what he wanted to do to go attack Auburn, and Auburn did not have a counterpunch ready for that. It was just that Auburn's actually a better team than Florida this year. And so they won the game based upon the fact that we just had a little bit more in the tank and some questionable calls that actually went in Auburn's favor for once. I think that was the last game I could say Auburn got some benefit of some whistles in the game, because after that, the refs was just like, oh, we screwed up that one game. We're screwing them the rest of the season on whistles. But outside of that, you know, I don't think that we went in with bad game plans anywhere. I just think we had really poor execution in some spots, and maybe some in-game plans didn't go as well as they should have. But pretty good coaching job overall, though, by a team that needed to adjust from not having the contributions preseason expectation wise from the 2 freshmen that you thought you were going to have, and having to adjust that plan. Then Chris Moore getting hurt, right? Like just some things rotationally didn't go well. Hopefully Simo is back to being, because what he showed the last few minutes of that Arkansas game was more of the Chris Moore we've been expecting to see. The hustle plays, the energy, the effort, the leadership on the sidelines. We've been missing that for a couple of games from him. So hopefully he's back in that space.
Yeah. They've got to find scoring, and that's the bottom line in this tournament. They can play defense, but if they can't find scoring, it's going to be tough here. And particularly when we talked about today on the live, figuring out these end of game scenarios, because if you're going to go deep into this tournament, you're going to run into at least one where in the last minute you've got to execute. And you've got to get the ball to your playmakers, and you have to generate some offense in the last minute. And Auburn needs to find out how to get organized in the last minute and do something that looks like it looks competent in the last minute of the game.
So Valencia, it's hectic, and what she's referring to is BJCC is showing 726 people in front of her for tickets. So if your thought process was, oh, I'll get some tickets tomorrow,
don't
hop on that now. Don't wait and think you're going to get tickets later. The problem, so this is not a basketball thing I'm about to say. The issue with a lot of this is these ticketing sites get hit by scalpers really quickly, and they have like these resale sites go and they buy up a lot of tickets really early so that they can resell them for a higher value. And you end up getting screwed. So like you kind of have to play this double dutch situation with tickets sometimes. If you're not first to get in, then you kind of need to just monitor ticket sales and see, can you get some lower price tickets if you just wait a little bit, because those resellers are going to have to start selling them for lower costs to get rid of all the tickets that they bought. So It's a game. You either have to be first or you got to be last. Honestly, because those close-up tickets are just going to be what they are. It's going to be expensive. PPass says, doesn't Auburn sell tickets directly? I am actually not sure about this. I haven't. I have been on here, so I haven't seen. Oh wait, we actually did just get an email about the seating from Auburn, but no announcement yet about how to purchase tickets or anything like that. And I'm sure that Auburn will put something out.
Yeah, they're going to have something for students to be able to go up. There's going to be an allotment, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Same way they do for football when it comes to make sure that the requisite amount of fans have a chance to go see the game without paying exorbitant aftermarket prices.
You want your students to be there, because those are going to be the ones that are the loudest in the arena. Is the student section. So if your students aren't able to get in, then you got to deal with who was the closest to the game, and they just kind of went because it was easy for them to get there, and they might not be as boisterous supporters in the arena. So Adrian says that BJCC already sold out. I'm telling you, that's those resellers, man. They went in and they snatched up a bunch of tickets. They didn't care who was going to get the seating as a reseller. They just wanted to buy up the tickets so that they could sell them on their site. So it just, you're going to have to be strategic about how you purchase those tickets. Let's see here. What else we got here? I already said that one. P Pass thinks that Vandy is going to win the NIT. Also saying that Stackhouse is going to take the North Carolina offer. Is North Carolina, did they fire their coach? I hadn't kept up with anything in North Carolina.
They would have had to have just done it, right?
He's an alum from UNC, so I understand why this would be an appealing thing. Do you think Jerry Stackhouse would leave and go back to coach at UNC?
Yeah,
UNC couldn't. They were just in the freaking national championship game. There's no way they fired their coach.
Yeah, he's capping.
That would be kind of like Hubert Davis is the UNC coach right now, right? Like he just took the team to a championship game last year. Why would they fire him already? But that would be an interesting development to see Jerry Stackhouse go back to North Carolina as a coach. He's a good coach, man. Jerry Stackhouse is a good coach. I think he's a good recruiter to be able to get talent to Vanderbilt. He would be nuts at UNC being able to recruit with that kind of pedigree behind him. Ben Bloodworth says, I'd vote for a political candidate who would aggressively go after scalpers. I am actually with you on this.
Yeah, let me tell you, in 2010, out in Phoenix, when Auburn played Oregon, the FBI actually raided a hotel room with a bunch of scalped, like fake tickets. And they busted some guy, and he got some time. So they do need to kind of crack down on this a little bit. If you want fans to be fans and go out, these aftermarket sites are really taking advantage. Who can afford to go to a national title game?
For sporting events and for like concerts, and it's like, why are you driving the prices up for this stuff? It's really hard in stuff like this, though, right? Because I don't know where I'm even booking a ticket to until it's announced, and then you buy up all the tickets. You're not even giving me an opportunity to legitimately go in and buy it for a reasonable price. It's crazy.
Yeah, in 2013, there were 90 for the Rose Bowl sits 95,000 people. And the average ticket price of that game was $2,600 aftermarket. Just crazy. And that doesn't count hotel room and travel and flights because they had jacked up all the plane flight prices coming out of Birmingham going into LAX. The guys flew into Phoenix and we drove over to Pasadena because it was just, they were saving $800 round trip. Ticket prices they have to be reasonable, and that's why the school gets an allotment, because no student is paying $2,600 for a ticket to any game unless mom and dad are paying for it. So they need to do something about it.
Yeah, it's crazy. P-Pass says that he's just generating rumors there about Stackhouse. He wasn't being serious.
I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. Ben Bloodworth says that there's always somebody selling tickets on sidewalks around the arena. Yes, that absolutely happens everywhere.
Yeah. So here's the deal.
That's old school ticket scalping right there.
Here is the hack. right? And it's more relevant if you can afford to travel.
Hmm.
But the day of the game is probably the best time to get tickets
Yeah,
because
they'll have a
if
bunch of leftover seats.
if you have and if any ticket that hasn't been sold, they are panicked to get rid of it the day of.
Yeah.
And they're panicked to get rid of it. Now the tournament is a little bit different because what I understand about the tickets, you buy a ticket, you get to see all the games that are happening that day.
Yeah. They
So
so like how it was for the SEC tournament, and this is how they do it for other tournaments. I'm just telling you how it was in the arena for SEC tournament, just to give you context. Is they sell them in blocks, right? There's a
mhm,
morning block and an afternoon block, and you buy
right,
your ticket for one or the other or both, and it gives you access. But they take a long break between the block to clear the arena out. So everybody who's not working and not pressed has to leave from their seats so that they can revalidate tickets for that afternoon block.
right.
So that's how you purchase them. You get to see a block of games. So everything that's happening in the first one or everything that's happening in the second.
Yeah. So I mean, day of, you if you can go stand outside there, you can probably find a ticket to the game.
Yeah.
At a reasonable price because they'll try to get you on it, but ultimately they've got to get rid of them or what's use is it to them.
Yeah.
So
And
that's a heck.
it's going to be frustrating for a lot of people. I'm telling you guys right now. So hear it from two guys who know that it's going to be frustrating if you said to yourself, "Oh, I couldn't get a ticket," and you really wanted to be there and you just decide not to make plans to go, and then you watch on TV and there's a bunch of empty
There's
seats.
a bunch of empty seats. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm telling you right now, they have not sold that entire arena out this quickly. It didn't happen. So make your plans to be in the area and keep watching the ticket prices. The worst case scenario, you end up watching it at a sports bar somewhere in Birmingham and get to celebrate with a bunch of Auburn fans after the game if you don't get a ticket to get in. But go ahead and make your travel plans and just be in the area. It's my advice to you. And then just keep monitoring the ticket price because
Mhm.
they're going to be tickets available. There will be, especially then if uh, whoever Auburn's playing in this first round, Iowa, Auburn beats them, bunch of Iowa fans ain't gonna want their tickets no more. So then you're gonna have a bunch of seats available for the next game, right? When you're playing against the winner of the Houston game. It's
Mhm.
gonna happen. It happens every single tournament. I'm telling you guys right now. So just make your travel arrangements before those prices get crazy because that's the price you really have to be able to monitor what your plane ticket is going to be and what the hotel, because as the availability of those go down, those ticket prices and those hotel rooms go up. So you want to make sure that you're going to have the travel plans in order, then worry about your tickets second, right? So if I give you any advice about traveling for stuff like this, that's the advice that you got right here from the War Rapport. You didn't come here to get that, but that's what you got today because we're fans. And so we got to tell y'all how to be smart fans and do your stuff, man. But yeah, do that. You'll thank me later. Anyway, let's see what we've got in here. Ernest Vaughn says, War Damn, got my dancing shoes cleaned and ready for Thursday. Hopefully the team is ready to cut a rug as well, man, and not just come in here and lay down. I want to see
Yeah.
him go out there and punch somebody in the mouth.
I just think it's so interesting the decision to put Auburn in Birmingham, and yeah, I think that part of what they can thank for this is the sellouts at Neville Arena all
Mm-hmm.
season, right? If I'm organizing this region and I'm just thinking their fans show up
Yep.
no matter what, they're the up and down season. Um, even if you look at what happened with, I know it's kind of loosely related, but what happened with Texas A&M and Auburn in football this year, and one of the worst seasons ever, like 2-3 win football teams go out there and they sell out, and you're just thinking, hey, here's an opportunity. This is a no-brainer. Win or
Yeah.
lose, that first game, there are going to be a ton of Auburn fans in there trying to turn the BJCC into Neville for a few hours.
Yep.
So smart
Yeah.
decision on their part, I think.
Listen, man, these guys know how to make money. If they don't know how to do anything else, they understand what it is to generate revenue. So the placements of where these people
for
are
damn sure.
makes sense. Because listen, it's a lot of money to drive or travel to some place way across country to see your team play. They want people to be in the arena, whether it feels like an unfair advantage for Iowa, because that's what Dana Holgerson was saying when Auburn played in the Birmingham Bowl 2 years ago. He was like, it's basically a home game for them type of stuff. He was mad that Houston had to come to a game so close for Auburn because he felt like it was a home game. I'm sure Iowa is going to feel the same way. They're going to feel like this is a quasi home game for Auburn. We got screwed in our matchup because they're going to have a bunch of their fans in the arena. Here's the thing. Make them matter by proving them right. Go and show up in huge numbers and cheer and turn it into a home court environment. I am rooting for that to happen for Auburn, for the fans to be in here and make the BJCC feel like Neville Arena as closely as possible. And there's going to be a bunch of Bama fans in there hate watching too. So that's going to be an interesting dichotomy to see the hate watching that happens for the opposing team, because there are going to be Auburn fans who are going to be there to hate watch Bama, and they're going to cheer like hell for who does Bama play in the first game?
They get Texas. Well, they get the winner of the
play-in game.
Yeah, it's Texas A&M CC, right, or Southeastern Missouri.
So this will probably be the biggest crowd that those two schools have ever had cheering for them since they've started playing collegiate basketball, because there's going to be so many I don't want Bama to win fans in that building that they're going to get large roaring ovations when they do anything remotely good in that game.
Right.
And it's going to be very interesting to watch. But conversely, I don't know what Iowa's basketball fan base is like, but there's going to be a lot of hate watching going on from Bama fans who were just happening to be in the building that are going to be coming there. And every time Iowa does anything that looks remotely good, they're going to go nuts in there. It's just going to be such an interesting dichotomy to see how much hate watching is going to be happening in that arena.
Yeah, definitely. It's smart move on their part. Like I said, this is the smartest thing you could have done in terms of region and putting both these teams in here, because the hate between the schools is at an all-time high right now.
Yeah.
And with Alabama's handling of the Brandon Miller situation, it's just made it worse. I mean, they have just created so much animosity towards their program with how they've handled that. Nate Oates has become kind of a villain.
Yeah.
This is smart marketing, I think, on their part.
Yeah, absolutely. Valencia, more tips for the travelers. Go early. Parking is going to be crazy. Let me tell you definitively, parking is going to upset you around the beach.
Birmingham, Jefferson better City catch Center. That Uber.
Yeah, you Uber like park somewhere remotely and Uber. You're gonna or get there dumb early.
Yeah, agreed.
And then when you're ready to leave, either have a bunch of patience when you get back in your car, or find something else in the area to go do for a minute, right? Like Uptown is right there. Go get you something to eat. You're going to have a long wait. Just accept it. It's going to be a long wait everywhere to eat around there. Go to Uptown, get you something to eat. But Uber is going to be your friend. Uber is going to be jumping like crazy because there's going to be a bunch of people trying to take Ubers. Birmingham doesn't have the best transit system in the world, but I do think that they're going to have some sort of special bus route set up for stuff like this. If I find out some more information, I'll let y'all know, because again, it's right down the street. So they've been preparing for this for a while. I will see what we have. Maybe by tomorrow morning, I'll have made a couple of phone calls to some people who I know who are involved in some of the event planning stuff that's going to be happening, to see if there's any more information I can get for you guys. But definitely park early or get yourself some sort of rideshare situation popping off.
Yeah.
James Barnett says here, I think this team wants to prove the naysayers wrong. Thoughts on that?
Oh, yeah, I think that they do. I think they hear the noise. They're definitely listening to the noise, but you have to block a lot of that out. I don't think that can be your motivation in this tournament.
Yeah.
I think the motivation should be about individual improvement, right? And it should be about focusing on where they're deficient and how they can do better offensively, particularly because I can't stress enough. It is NCAA tournament time, and these end of game scenarios,
Yeah.
closing out games is something that they have to figure out, both from a player standpoint and from a coaching standpoint. All right, and there's enough blame to go around for why Auburn has failed at the end of games, but I look at coaching first, because you got to call a good play. You have to have some things figured out. You have to use your timeouts wisely. You just have to understand what your team needs to get into a position to close down the stretch. And then players have to go out and execute after that. But what I just mentioned, the latter comes first.
For sure.
The latter comes first. And if your strategy is just throw them out there and let them do what they do, you don't have the dudes for that. I don't think Bruce Pearl has the dudes for that this year. So he's got to help them out. And he's taking a lot of responsibility for that. Hopefully, this was their chance to regroup. That first round loss in the SEC tournament, or that first day loss in the SEC tournament. Okay, great. I don't think anybody was real, except for me, was under the delusion that they could win it all anyway. So get rested and start regrouping. And as soon as they announced, right now, I promise you, they're game planning for Iowa. Yeah. Game planning started about 20 minutes ago.
Literally, as soon as they got the announcement, they started pulling game film from all over the place, and they're going to figure out what they need to do to more so defensively, because they're not going to change up a lot of what they do offensively, but they definitely are going into scout mode right now, which is what I'm about to go do myself.
I'm begging.
I'm going to go hit up Steven and be like, yo, Steven, send me some film, bro, so I can get a head start on this. No,
I'm begging to see Alan Flanagan with the ball in his hands at the end of the game.
I think he is one of the few people who the height of who's guarding him wouldn't matter.
Right. I'm begging to see Alan Flanagan take a final shot if it comes down to that. So if you're going to advance, there's a likelihood. NCAA tournament is one of the most exciting things in sports. It is thrilling. There are upsets, and they're all. I don't think there's ever been an NCAA tournament without a buzzer beater.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen.
Right. So it's going to be fun to watch. You just don't want to be on the losing end of it.
Yeah. Definitely don't want to be on the losing end of a buzzer beater. Anyway, all right, so we got more to talk about this tomorrow. Again, we'll get more in depth on this tomorrow, as we've had an opportunity to unravel some of the stuff for Iowa. We appreciate you guys jumping in. As always, make sure that you are doing the necessary, which is sharing the video so other people can come in and comment on the conversation. Give your thoughts right down there in the comment section on how you feel like Auburn fared in this draw. Make sure that you like the video before you get out of here. Subscribe to the channel so we can continue to grow. We're the War Rapport everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TW Report on TikTok, man. We are out of here. You got Ike Jones, Mike G. Holler at y'all tomorrow for the morning drop. Until then, and as always, War Eagle. Peace.